And for me, this was just another reminder that I have to be extremely, extremely cautious when it comes to dealing with my medications, because if this had not worked out the way that it did, it could.
Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to become part of the Transplant Helper community.
Hey folks, welcome back to Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle, and once again, that's right, we're talking about medication management, particularly when it comes to changes in your medication, whether it's through adding a medication or taking one away, or maybe like I did the other day, just kind of having a bump in the road with basically a medication refill or a renewal. You need to be very cautious and aware of what's going on in your life. So with that being said, let's first talk about what you need to do if you're adding a new medication or perhaps taking one away. I advise on every one of those cases, both of those cases, that you need to take about a week or so when that change occurs and kind of jot down some notes. Maybe make a little bit of a journal in the evenings and ask yourself, have I noticed any new side effects? Have I noticed any improvement? Anything that's gotten better or worse? Have I noticed any changes in the way that I feel, such and so on? Just take a journal, a notebook, and just jot those things down in the evening if and when the medication change occurs. Because, heaven forbid, anything should not go as planned, you would basically have that remembrance and that evidence to say, okay, here's what the changes were. Is this medication worth taking or not? Do the risk outweigh the benefits or vice versa? You'll just kind of have that. So I advise if there's ever a medication change, whether a new one is added or old one is taken away, just go ahead and journal that for about a week. And you probably throw that in the trash can at some point, but let's just do that just to be cautious. That's what I like to do. Now, second to that, and this is really where my story comes in from the other day, you should also do something very similar if and when you have a medication renewal, okay? Basically, my coordinator writes my medications out for as many refills as possible every time she does. On some medications, that might be 3 refills. Others, it might be 6. I've got one that has 18 refills on it, and I get it filled about every 2 months. So that one's going to last a while. But nonetheless, on occasion, they have to write renewals and refill prescriptions and such for you. And when and if they ever do that, you need to be extremely careful when you're going down to pick up those medications and be very aware of what medication you've just picked up from the pharmacy and if that is the proper medication. Now, in my case, I actually emailed my coordinator the other day through the portal, and I said, hey, Miss Connie, I'm out of my daltalzine. Can you please refill that? That was a convenient way of doing it. She replied back almost immediately, yes, I'll take care of it. And she did. She sent the prescription over, probably digitally, but over to my pharmacist where I could go and pick it up. Within an hour or two, I got notification that the prescription was ready for daltalzine. Didn't have time to go and get it then, but by late evening time, went ahead and rode down there. I had a carload of kids and we were doing some other things, but I pull up in the pharmacy window, tell her I'm here, give her my birthday and my information. She immediately comes back, has a bag in hand with what I believe to be daltalzine, hands it over to me. The only thing that I noticed that was strange about it in the moment was it was actually free. It cost nothing. And typically I pay $3, $6 for that kind of medication, but this one was free. Hey, who's going to argue? I'm certainly not. So I take the medication, throw it over in the side of the car, drive home, get home that evening, bring the bag in, medication in the bag, toss it over here on my desk, leave it alone. Wake up the next morning, and I'm going to go ahead and add that medication back into my refill slots on my pill carriers and such as that because I was out of it. And I went ahead to do that, and when I grabbed the bottle, I realized, according to the label at least, this was not daltalzine, okay? It was not daltalzine. It was not the medication that I needed. So immediately the wheels start turning. My plan is then I'm going to reach out to my coordinator in a few hours, say, hey, Miss Connie, I don't know what happened. I asked for daltalzine. Maybe the prescription was wrong. Maybe she got off on the wrong line. You know how they click everything now on a computer? Or maybe the pharmacist made a mistake. I don't know who made the mistake, but we're going to get it fixed. So I'm getting ready to do that. At least that was my plan in a few hours to go ahead and email her, because instead of daltalzine, I've got a medication in my hand. It is TIADYLT extended release 180. I don't know what that is, but it's not the right medication. That's the point. Had I not been cautious, had I not been careful, had I not been, one of those people who knows my medications well, I might have made a mistake and just started taking this stuff and gotten all messed up. And that could have been dangerous for me. But as I was kind of awaiting the time when I could go ahead and reach out to Miss Connie, get all this straightened out, I got curious. I said, well, I wonder what this medication right here is. I'm not familiar with it. I've never seen it. So I do what I do with all my medications. I advise you to do as well. Either get on some kind of an app on your mobile phone or get on a computer or some other digital way of reaching out. Go ahead and search for that medication. Typically speaking, you can find that medication either by name, by manufacturer, or in the case of these pills right here, if you'll look very closely, and you probably won't be able to see this, I can't see it without my glasses, but if you look very closely, every medication has a certain coloration, a shape, and even a number. If you can see that number, I don't know if it'll focus or not, but a number that's imprinted on it, and that helps you to identify that medication. So what I did, I went ahead and looked this medication up by those characteristics, not by the label, but by those characteristics. And what I discovered, which I was thankful for, although this was not daltalzine, which I was familiar with, I thought, well, maybe it's the generic form. Then I remembered, wait, daltalzine is the generic form, but something else. This medication was neither of those. It was not daltalzine. It was not its generic form. It was actually a sister form of it. Now, I made up the phrase or the term sister form. I don't know if that's true or not. What that basically means is even though this doesn't carry the same name, maybe the same manufacturer, this is exactly the same medication as daltalzine, period. Even to the extent when you look it up by the number on the pill, which I just showed you, when you look it up by that specific number, it comes up and says this medication is known as whatever that was, or it can be known as, I don't even have my glasses around here, so I don't know what this says. It can be known as Tazac. It looks like, I can't see, it's very small. Be known as Tazac, or it is a form of daltalzine, which I was familiar with. So with that being said, I didn't have to reach out to my coordinator, Miss Connie, didn't have to call a pharmacist. This turns out to be the right medication. Why the substitute was made, I don't know, and things have been going well. I have taken out my little notepad and started journaling since I started on this back 2 days ago, and just kind of jotting down in the evenings, have I noticed any problem? Nope, hadn't noticed any problem. No change, no side effects. It is the same medication, so I was assured of that. However, I'm only saying this because a lot of times it's not the right medication. If it's not the right name, if it's not the right color, not the right shape, not the right code on the imprinted on it, it may not be the right medication. And if you are not being very, very, very cautious, a mistake could be made. Now, in brief, I was reached out to by a great friend of the program a few moments ago, Ron Harbor. You've heard me talk to Ron before on My Story, My Words, and other things. Recently received a kidney transplant, by the way, and is doing excellent after his heart transplant. Side note. But he reached out to me, and he had a mistake the other day with his medication, where they basically told him instead of taking 3, take 5 on his Prograf tacrolimus. He gets home, kind of thinks that through, the wheels get to turning. He thought, wow, going from 3 to 5 pills is a huge jump. Why in the world am I doing that? He called his coordinator this morning. They said, well, we wanted you to do that because your Prograf level is high, which doesn't make sense. Why go from 3 to 5 if it's high? Well, the answer to that was they weren't really sure about what level he was on. They thought he was taking like 1.5 milligram or something like that. And then in addition to that, it turned out instead of him interpreting, as he did, 3 to 5 pill increase, what they meant was 3 to 5 milligrams, okay? And those Prograf pills are available in 0.5 milligrams, 1 milligrams. I think they're even a 2 or a 5. Not sure about that, but they're available in different dosages within one capsule. So again, had the mistake been made and he could just took off taking 5 pills instead of 3 pills, even though his were like 0.5 milligram a piece, he would have been in trouble in this case. So he called his coordinator, got it all fixed. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you find a discrepancy in your medication, stop, don't take your meds, do your digging, do your research, reach out to your team, your pharmacist, your coordinators, whomever. Make sure you're doing the right thing. It's better to make sure you're doing the right thing now than discover you've been doing the wrong thing when it is too late. Hopefully this is helpful. Again, my 2 suggestions mainly, check your meds and make a journal if your medication changes whatsoever, just so you can track some of those changes and possible side effects to make sure you're getting the best treatment you possibly can. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, stay stronger, friends.